Hi everyone, this is Dr. K. I wanted to quickly chat about hydroxychloroquine again. I know I made several videos in the past, but I wanted to share you some of the practical information that I'm receiving. Since the start of this COVID pandemic, hydroxychloroquine is available for us to order in the hospital. Like anybody, like any doctor could order it, and there were no restrictions on whom we could give. Um, the only criterion was they would only allow us to give the medication for people who are really sick, but not to somebody who's going home from the hospital or the ER. Apart from that, there were no restrictions. But in the last 1 week or so, I got a memo, and now they're not allowing any of us to prescribe hydroxychloroquine altogether. And this is based upon a recent study that was released on May 22nd by Dr. Mehra, MEHRA, and others. I think they're related to Boston, Massachusetts. So the study essentially said they compared two groups. One group received any of the combination, either hydroxychloroquine alone or with azithromycin, and the other group was a control group that didn't receive any of those medications. And they noticed that there is an increased death rate in the people who received the medication versus people who did not receive the medication. And the most important cause being abnormal heart rhythm, or we call it arrhythmia. So we already knew that hydroxychloroquine in conjunction with azithromycin can increase the risk of death in somebody who has previous heart problems or abnormal rhythm in the heart, and we would try not to prescribe them. So based on this study, most of the hospitals are not allowing any of us to prescribe hydroxychloroquine now. So as you have seen in one of my previous videos, the only subset that really benefits from hydroxychloroquine are people who get both hydroxychloroquine and zinc together. And so far, there are no studies that have that have documented that. Based on anecdotal evidence, both from California as well as New York, where there's a huge COVID population, there are some success stories that were shared by other doctors, and based on that, my impression that maybe that is something that can work. But the reality of the matter is that we are not able to prescribe it anymore, at least in the hospital. I have to talk to my pharmacist friends outside in the clinics, like in the outpatient setting, to see if they'll allow prescriptions, because those cannot be restricted by any corporation. So so that's something I'm going to find out in the next few days. I'm going to make some personal phone calls to them. But if you're under the impression that you may get it, whether the doctor agrees with you or not, chances are you will not get it because of corporate policies in different hospitals. Obviously, there are other treatments. A lot of the patients now where I work are getting remdesivir, REMDESIVIR, and some of the doctors are noticing promising trends. Again, I really don't know if it works or not, but some of them are noticing promising trends. Most of the patients are surviving. And as I shared before, the most effective tool or effective treatment so far is using convalescent plasma. Essentially, you take the plasma from somebody who has recovered, and we believe the antibodies from that plasma can be transferred to another client who's sick, and now they'll notice improvement in their illness. So far, that seems to be the most effective treatment, but that is hard to get. There are only very few people who may be willing to give their plasma after recovering from COVID. So I want to quickly share this with you. Earlier in the day, I shared an infographic from the Cleveland Clinic Journal. It really documents very nicely. If you go on my Facebook page, it documents different areas where each particular drug works. For example, hydroxychloroquine works when the virus is entering the cell. So if you give hydroxychloroquine and zinc together, it will stop the virus from entering the cell. So similarly, in different areas where the virus, once it enters, it has to multiply, and once it multiplies, now it has to send out more virus particles outside the cell. So different drugs act at different areas. So you can read through that. If you have any questions, comment below, comment on that post, or comment separately. And also, if you want me to talk about any of those drugs and the mechanism of action, please let me know. So more exciting things are going to come along. So overall, I think we're on a good trend. I think a number of cases are either plateauing or number of deaths are surely going down. So I think we're making progress. So look forward to talking to you all again. Have a wonderful day. If you need to reach me personally, send me a DM. Okay. Have a wonderful day. Bye.